Hey guys, thanks for joining me. And if you like what you see, please subscribe.
Hello, peoples. Welcome to Sharp Ends. Thanks for joining me today. I have something different for you. This is HX Outdoors. Never heard of them before. They reached out to me and they sent me along a free sample. This is better than the other samples I've gotten from people so far. I'm a small YouTube creator, so the major companies haven't been sending me anything. So occasionally, some of the smaller ones do, and this one I haven't heard from. But on the outset, I think that they're a cut above the rest. This model here says that it's made out of titanium and D2 steel and comes in at $52. Comes in this spiffy black case, and I haven't opened it up yet, so this is my first impressions and unboxing of this. And wow, it doesn't it looks pretty cool to start off with. The styling on it isn't necessarily the kind of knife I go for, but that's just me. We're going to take a look at this and open this up. But first, if you could smash that like button, I really appreciate it, and leave a comment. I'd also really appreciate that as well. So first off, the styling on this, they call this sliver titanium. I don't know what that means. It has a full backspacer, and it has a liner on one side, a steel liner on one side, and I don't know why that is, because it has a flipper tab, I guess. Oh, because it's a liner lock. The liner lock is obviously has its own liner in there. And I'm not going to be able to tell what their D2 is heat treated like on this video by just opening it up. I mean, I will try to take a look at it and put it through its paces when I do a full review of this. But right now, looks pretty good. I don't necessarily like speed holes, but I do like the fact that they've gone ahead and put some micro, or some they've gone ahead and taken out some material here to give you some gription here. I don't know how much gription it would really offer. The clip on it kind of reminds me of a Spyderco clip a little bit, with the three Torx heads here, and everything on this is Torx, it looks like. Pivot looks like it might be free spinning, but I'm not sure. And I see titanium, or I see ball bearings in there instead of instead of I'm blanking on the name. Let's try out this flipper here. It has a little bit of jimping there, and it doesn't take up too much profile. Let's see what the action's like. Oof. So you can push button it. It actually works really well that way. The jimping on the flipper tab itself feels a little aggressive to me. Yeah, it really does feel a little aggressive to me. It does feel very sharp, though. The knife itself feels like it's ground nicely, and the blade shape is got some nice belly to it. A little bit of a drop point, I guess I would call that. And then the ergos, you pinch up really nicely in there. That feels pretty darn good. And the access to the bar lock is good, and it has some jimping on it as well, which feels a little rough to me as well. It's like all of these corners in here, like this speed hole here, it's a little bit sharp. Not sharp, but it's not rounded off. Could have gone in a tumbler maybe. I almost want to open the flipper tab with my nail instead of my palm of my finger, because the jimping on here does feel a little aggressive to me. But having said that, the action itself is pretty darn good. And the ergos are actually good. Yeah, they're actually pretty good. My hand really locks in there pretty nicely. Is this really sharp? Let's take a piece of paper. It feels really sharp to me. Do I have a piece of paper around here that I can use real fast? I don't want to use that. All right, took me a second to find a piece of paper. I'm going to guess that this does a very nice scroll cut. Yeah. Oh, all the way to the tip. Very sharp out of the box. And if the D2 is treated correctly, heat treated correctly, it should be good to go for a while. The reverse flick, not quite. I mean, whenever you have a knife with a hole like that, you're always going to want to reverse flick it. And it looks like they give you almost enough access, but the liner lock itself is blocking just a portion of it. I don't think that necessarily, but the hole itself is a little small. If you get your fingernail in there, it does definitely work for the reverse flick. And I'm guessing for the thumb flick, it's going to be kind of hard to do, but possible. Yeah, it's much harder to do with the thumb. The clip itself comes all the way down here and is on top of that hole. It feels really strong, but you can tell it's pressed bent steel. Not the end of the world, but yeah, full liner back here, which also seems to be steel to me. Interesting. So for 50 bucks, this isn't too bad, honestly. If you're just finding me from Amazon or something like that, or wherever they sell this, they sell it on a website. I'll link it down below. I think they actually gave me a discount code on this as well, which will be down, all the info will be down below in the description. If you're finding me from Amazon or whatever, this is a decent knife for $50. There's a lot of stuff out there, and you can actually get 14C28N for 50 bucks. But you can't necessarily get titanium. You can get nice micarta for that amount of money, but not titanium, which some people might like and be willing to sacrifice on the D2. I'm not sure why though, because nice micarta is pretty good to get with Migron, CGRB, and a couple of other knife companies out there, Civivi. But overall, I think that this is an okay knife. I'm actually kind of impressed by it. Again, I think the knocks on this are the jimping are quite aggressive on the knife here. You know, something else I just noticed too is that the flipper tab totally disappears in the ergos of the handle, and that's nice. You don't have an extra tab down here, and it doesn't get in the way. That's a very thoughtful little design element as well, which I do like. I think that when I'm opening this, I'm going to end up reverse flicking it a lot, and when I do use the flipper tab, I'm probably going to use my nail a lot, or to push button it a little bit. It does feel a little aggressive there. And it's not quite rounded off. There is some jimping on the liner lock itself, but it's not quite rounded off. It doesn't bother my hand. Now, is it dropping shut? No, it's not dropping shut, but it is a new knife, and that will work in as I use it. The bearings themselves feel fine. I need to take this knife apart in order to see what's inside, to see how it's really engineered and put together. But on the whole, I don't think it's bad. Liner locks are absolutely fine with me. They're definitely nice and stable. The lockup on here you can't quite see because the flipper tab is actually here. You can see where the flipper tab is, which provides a little bit of jimping here when you choke up on it too, but you can't see how much of the lock is engaged. Well, you can. I can now. It's definitely at 50% lockup, but there's no lock stick, which is great. So overall, I'm impressed. Would I spend my $50 in another way? Maybe. But having said that, this is not a dud. This is not a straight up cheap knife, which a lot of these knives seem to be. It's a titanium alloy, actually right there, and they call it sliver titanium. I don't know what that is. If you know what sliver titanium is, or what a titanium alloy, why they would decide to label it like that, I'd appreciate it. This is made in China. You can't really get a $50 knife in this country made in the USA. So, you know, there's that. Their symbol here for HX Outdoors seems to be a Chinese symbol. I don't know what that says. I could literally say anything. But it just kind of looks like a squiggly little fingerprint mark right now to me. Yeah, so very nice little case that it came with too, honestly. I'm not going to use this case ever, but it's a case. And that is something that you don't see in the $50 realm. Usually it just comes, if with anything, it usually just comes with some kind of little belt pouch like this with a zipper. And having a molded plastic case is usually something you associate with a higher end knife. Having said that, this is a very cheap little case as well, but it is a case. All around, you know, this isn't that bad. I actually kind of appreciate it. I'm going to stick it in my pocket in here out of curiosity, because this is so far kind of impressing me. The profile is a little tall in the pocket, but it slips in there. It's not too thick. I'm going to compare it to a couple of things, but you know, you've got that much of the knife sticking up above it, so it's not a deep pocket carry. Not that it needs to be, but I'm just stating the fact here. Is it reversible? It is not reversible, so 10% of the population of humans cannot enjoy this knife unless they're willing to carry it in their offhand. But, you know, again, that is a decision that was made. So let's compare it to something that you might know. Pyrite. Oh, the pyrite's a little bit larger, right? But the blade, the cutting length is longer. So they have about a 3-inch, generous 3-inch blade here of cutting edge. Yeah, 3 inches. And overall, we're looking at 7 1/4, which to me is the smallest knife that I will usually carry regularly. I do have smaller knives, but that is what I like, the minimum of what I like. This Torx bit in the pivot looks kind of odd to me. What is it? Huh. Looks like it's going to be a... There we go. It is going to be a T8. And it looks like it's going to be a T6 on the back. Am I wrong? I think I'm wrong. And it is a T... Yeah, no, it is a T6. It was just in the wrong slot. Yeah, T6, T8. I'm going to take the T8 and I'm going to loosen this a little bit. Now, when you get a new knife, you sometimes just need to adjust things. I'm guessing that this isn't a lock. Well, maybe it is. Sometimes they're just not locking pivots. But Spyderco has a D inside their shaft where both the screws come in, which does make it a locking pivot. So even if it has 2 screws on the side, sometimes it is. And now, look, I just loosened it a little bit, and it's already much easier to use and to shut. It's starting to fall shut already, which is great. One of these screws was very tight, and one of them was a little, not loose, but on the edge of being loose. So I'm just loosening that one. And now it's falling shut. However, like I said, all right, and now I guess the question is, when I've loosened it, does it have some blade play? And it does have just a touch of blade play, so I need to tighten it back up a skosh, and that will get rid of probably the drop shuttiness of it. Well, not really. Maybe I just overcorrected. And now no blade play, and it still is dropping shut on me. Yeah, overall, I think that this is okay. So thanks so much, HX Outdoors, for sending this in. You definitely could do from a little bit of extra sanding in here. The milling out of this part here is nice. This pattern kind of runs off where you've done that, but that's okay. The edges on the sides are nicely rounded. I wish that the jimping right here was rounded on this edge right here. And I wish that the jimping on the thumb stud was gone. I do like that the flipper tab, I feel like that could be rounded out a little bit more as well. And I really like that the flipper tab disappears into the handle. I think that's a nice touch. And I like the blade shape, honestly. I think it's not that bad at all. I have very big fingers, but I'm still able to reverse flick it very easily. And yeah, I'm definitely mildly impressed with this. Which is better than a lot of the cheaper knives I've been receiving lately from companies for free. And I haven't received many of them, so I really, really appreciate you sending this to me and for giving a discount code to the people who are watching this if they want to give it a try. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate your time. This was a first impressions unboxing video of this model, and this model, by the way, is a TD15T. It doesn't have a name that I could find. It's just a knife that has a serial number to it, but it's not that bad. And if you could like, subscribe, leave a comment, I really appreciate it. I give away knives every month to my followers. In fact, I'm giving away one tomorrow, and tomorrow is like March 9th. So I really appreciate you guys sticking around with me, and I'll see you next time on Sharp Ends. Bye-bye now.